Welcome to Manifesting Through Motherhood. I'm your host, Lindsay Williams, a self-development mentor, entrepreneur and author, dedicated to helping busy mums like you manifest success, balance and create passive income on your terms. With years of experience in mindset, manifestation, fitness, parenting and business growth, I share simple yet powerful strategies to help you transform your life without the overwhelm. If you're ready to up-level your mindset, build a thriving business and create the life you truly deserve, you're in the right place. You can also find all my books on Amazon, packed with tools to help you manifest and grow. So don't forget to follow the podcast to be updated on all new episodes. And let's get going. I spent years saying yes to avoid guilt, yes to keep the peace, yes to be liked, until I realised every yes to them was a no to me. This episode is for the women breaking free and finally choosing themselves. So what is a people pleaser? Are you a recovering people pleaser? A people pleaser is someone who constantly puts others' needs above their own, often the cost of their own peace, energy and identity. If you've ever said yes when your whole body was screaming no, this episode is for you. So let's talk about recovering from that cycle and learning to choose yourself first. Are you ready? Here's your reminder. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to be real. If you spent too long moulding yourself to fit into other people's comfort zones, this episode is your wake-up call. No more people pleasing. We're rewriting the script. Why do we prioritise other people's needs, feelings, and expectations over our own? Often, it's at the cost of our own mental health and identity. It often comes from fear of rejection, conflict, or not being liked. People pleasers often say yes when they want to say no, struggle with guilt after setting boundaries, avoid conflict or hard conversations, constantly seek an external validation, over-apologising, feel responsible for other people's emotions, and it can stem from childhood trauma or even just being raised to be the good girl. People-pleasing can look like being helpful, but it often lacks a lack of boundaries. There's a big difference between kind and being a doormat. People-pleasing is a coping mechanism, not your personality, and it often masks low self-worth or fear of not being accepted. It leads to resentment, burnout, and identity loss, especially for us busy mums who are already giving so much. So how do we recover from people pleasing? So let's get honest with yourself. Start noticing the moments when you say yes out of guilt or fear instead of alignment. Pause before answering. Give yourself space. I use words like, "Let me get back to you. Is that okay?" It is your new best friend saying that. Start small with boundaries. Practice saying no to things that drain you. You don't need a big reason. Ditch the need to explain. No is a full sentence. You don't owe people your peace to make them feel comfortable. Use journaling to explore your triggers. Ask, why do I feel guilty saying no? What am I afraid will happen? Challenge your inner critic. You are not bad for setting limits. You are not selfish. You are healing. And practice self-trust. Tune into your body. What feels like a yes versus a people-pleasing yes. Work on receiving. Let others help you. You don't have to prove your worth by doing it all. And celebrate when you hold a boundary. That's growth. It's okay to feel awkward. And affirm your new identity. I am worthy even when I say no. And choose myself without guilt. So I've got many friends that are huge people pleasers. I used to be kind of a people pleaser where I would say yes, or especially if you're in the workplace and people ask you to do things. But then you start to internalise it. And then after, I think when you are younger, what I find is we're very much yes girls, or lads if you're listening. And we want to because we want to make an impact. We want to be the good person. But then what that allows you you open that door for being that doormat, for people to be able to step in that space and to be able to ask you to do things that are unpleasant at work. You might be a really shy, neurodiverse person, and you are allowing people to walk all over you because you might want to people please at work. People pleasing your boss is a big thing. We see this all the time because people want to make people happy, but there's no respect. If somebody is able to use this as a weakness against you, then that just proves something about them. It's seeing the warnings. I think when you get to an age, you get to see those type of people. And I feel like you have people in your life that are like this, but it's really easy to eliminate these people because when we're younger, we do people please. It's like going on nights out and all the girls are like, let's go out. And even like I've read so much now, and people like, especially in these like groups that you're in, they can be anonymous posts that, you've been asked to go on a hen party and it's going to put you in financial straits, and you can't say no because you're a people pleaser. So you'd rather get into debt and do it than, you're just too scared to say no. But I've started saying no over the last couple of years. And it's really hard. It's took me a long, long time because if somebody asks you to do something, and especially when they ask you and they're looking in your face, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. And I do try and, sometimes I do blame my husband and don't tell him. And I say, oh, I can't, we're doing this and we're doing that. Because sometimes I will get that moment if I don't want to do something and I'm just not feeling the vibe, or I don't want to do it. And I say, well, actually, I'm busy, or I've got something else going on. People don't need to know what you're doing. So there's loads of ways we can get around this. If you don't like saying no, we can say, can we get back to you later? Can I think on it? People ask me, to do things all the time in regarding to my podcast and my business, but I can't give my energy to everybody because there's just not enough time, is there? And especially if you're a mum and you are, helping mums at school or helping with childcare. And if you don't want, I'm all about returning the favour. And if someone supports you, obviously support somebody back. But if you are reluctantly saying yes and you don't really want to do it, and you think, oh, why have I said that? Then we need to work on a different approach. Start coming up with solutions and phrases on why we don't want to. And I feel like we need to celebrate, because like once we've said, no, we can't do that, or I'm really sorry, can I sleep on it? We've got the beauty of texts now. Emails. Back then, we didn't have that. We just had to tell people to the face. And sometimes we should set cues. So when we ask people to do things and they don't excitedly eyes light up, then we need to then think, well, actually, does this person really want to do it? So I always say to people, if you want to do this, if you fancy doing this, but don't feel like you have to say yes. And I'm really courteous, and I do think about this when I speak to other people, though I ask mums, because everybody's busy, and it might not be because somebody doesn't want to do something for you. It's just they are at full bandwidth. We are busy women, business owners, entrepreneurs, we're mums, we're dads, we're partners, we're everything. We don't have a lot of time, and I've spoke about on the podcast so many times our energy spoons. We've only got a certain amount of energy spoons per day. The last couple of days for me, I felt like I've had less energy spoons, and I don't know why, but it's that time of the month and you just feel a little depleted and you can feel it and you've got to sit with it. And I've just got to say no to things because I'm like, I said, like, my son asks me to do things all the time for him. Like, can you just try and do it on your own? He's always, what children are like, and we are soft and we do have to say yes to our children. But when they become older, we need boundaries in place because people take advantage, even our partners. Once we stop carrying the mental load, our mental well-being, our overall health will start to improve, and you will start to feel just amazing that when you start to say no, and every day you can just make those small changes, and every time you say no, you don't have to be horrible. Write it down and say, actually, and just sit with it. on an evening in your journal, think, oh, I felt awful today. And then like have that conversation with your partner. It might be just like a work collaboration, and I get it all the time. People have to come on my podcast, and it's really hard to say no to people, but they have to be the right fit for the podcast. They have to be my vibe, because sometimes we get people that will try and take advantage of you, and people that try and use you or use you for their gain. And you live and learn. I've lived and learned so much, but we do need to just please ourselves, be the best versions of us. A lot of clients say to me, why am I a people pleaser? And they message me and they'll say, I've done it again. I can't help myself. Why have I said yes? Is it from my childhood? And, when you look into it, there is, childhood roots of people pleasing where you were praised for being a good girl. You learnt that being quiet, agreeable and helpful equals love and approval. So you internalise, I'm loved when I don't rock the boat. You feed conflict or punishment. If anger or shouting was scary, you might have avoided conflict by smoothing things over. You could go deeper. You had emotionally unavailable or inconsistent caregivers. You might have had to work for attention or affection, so you learnt to earn love by pleasing. You became the fixer or the caretaker. Maybe you had to grow up fast, take care of siblings or emotionally support a parent. This can create hyper responsibility for other people's feelings and needs. You were never taught boundaries. If no wasn't modelled to you, or saying no led to guilt trips, it makes sense that you avoid it as an adult. You felt safest when others are happy. You learnt to read the room, people please and keep everyone else happy. So you didn't have to feel unsafe, rejected or alone. I can think of so many different situations just by reading everything I've wrote out, because I like to keep the peace. And within my family, I'm always the one that gets shot down. I'm always trying to keep the peace. I'm always trying to keep everything afloat, because I want people to be happy, but I always want people to be like me and see my way. But I've realised over the last couple of years, we can't make people be like us and be that type of a way. People don't see us for what we are. Not everybody wants to see it through our lens. And it's upset me so many times over the years with external family members, because I just want everybody to get on and be peaceful. But I've also, we've all been shit on in life, sorry for swearing, but we have. And things make us stronger, but no more. Since my nan died, honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot. And I am not responsible for other people's happiness. I have to look after myself this year. Because if I don't, then where's my mind going to go? I can't please people. If I don't feel a certain way, I'm still going through grief. I'm still, even though it's 6 months down the line, it's still there. And if I don't want to do something on a certain day, then I won't want to do it. This year I've really looked after myself. I've really worked on me. I've lost 4 stone. I've really toned up. My sugar levels are back to normal. Everything's great. But this is because I started putting me first. I've stopped saying yes to everything. And it's hard. There's been conflicts. My head's been muddled at times. But if we don't start saying no, then we can't accommodate everybody else and how they feel. And if people don't like it, it's tough. That's what my mum used to say. It's just tough, isn't it? Like, we can't make everybody happy. My mum is a total people pleaser. She'll be listening to this and she'll be like, yes, she looks after everybody, looks after neighbours and family, but she gets shit on all the time. And you go back for more and more, and you think, why do I go back for more? Because you think people are going to change and they're not, but we just keep going back for more. But I've said to my mum this year, look after yourself, look after your health. And I might have to be a bit selfish, I said to my mum this year, because I'm going through grief, she's going through grief, but together combined, we will be no good together, because we just cry. And she's lost her mum and I've lost my nan. But we have to say no for people. We have to look after ourselves. I've done nothing but look after elderly people all my life, look after my nan and granddad. And that's fine, I would never ever change, I would go back to it now. But I've always looked after them, I've always gone out of my way. And I'm like, I'm 43 now. I've spent all my life caring and worrying if people like me, or do they, am I doing everything right? And it's always held me back in certain things. But then when I wrote my book, I thought, what if people don't like my book? Like, well, so what? It might not be perfect, my book. It's my first ever bloody book. You know what I mean? Like, it's your first book. It's an achievement. And people say to all this time, but I don't know if I can publish my book. And I'm like, why? They went, Because what if it's not good enough? What if such a body doesn't like it and then other people question it? And I had a lady today message me a similar thing that I went to, asking me, have you wrote this book? Well, yeah, of course I've wrote this book. No one else has wrote this book for me. And it makes you question, what? Like, of course, like, I wrote this book. It took me like 7-8 months, maybe longer, to write the book because I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it. And I got it checked and edited. And then I self-published it. I learned in that time to self-publish. I was pleasing myself. And it is all about pleasing yourself. So I want you to get a journal. I want you to start writing down all the things you start saying yes to. And start looking at words. And even if you've got to start training yourself on using new phrases, using positive self-talk. And people will say, you've changed. I thought you used to be quite helpful, you. And when people start to notice that, that shows they've been taking your weakness for advantage. And my friend, Linz, we have this conversation all the time. And she's a massive people pleasing and a massive caregiver. She's always wants to make people happy. And she tells me, and I tell her all the time, and I say to her, but what are these people doing for you? Like, say, gets a Christmas card or birthday card, worries at night, I'm going to go around, drop this birthday present off. Comes her birthday, she gets nothing. And I'm like, well, stop doing it. And I think when we stop doing these things to please other people, then they go out of our lives. I ask the universe all the time, take these people away from me. Take them out of my life. They're not going to help my manifesting. This isn't going to help my vibrational energy. I need to be around people that are going to boost me. And they might not always be, sadly, the people that are your family are the ones that are close to you. They are sometimes the people at the minute that are around me who are messaging me on the daily, complimenting me on my book, my podcast, the way I deliver things online, the way I help them with my life coaching. They're like, Lindsay, you just amaze me. And I'm like, oh, I don't really like praise. But I'm like, I must be doing something. And I spoke to my husband the other night in bed about impact and the way about how I want to help more people. And, I want people to buy more of my courses to self-publish. I want people to buy my podcasting course. I want people to work with me. And I want to be able to create that impact to help people, to support people, because I work with busy mums, I work with majority women, because women are feeling stuck and unheard, and they don't know about manifesting, and it doesn't have to be woo-woo. Manifesting is just raising them intentions and setting the tone for the day and looking at goals and looking at your aspirations and your skills and how we can feel so much happy in our lives and in our workplace and just have something to be really excited for. I could not imagine not having the word manifest in my life, and it might bug the hell out of people online. Oh, here she is again with the word manifesting. But my life has improved since I started manifesting. I have done so much. I have become an author. I couldn't even imagine to tell you what I've done. Everything's just like up-leveled and changed, and I feel like I'm still in the infancy of all that I do, because we're all capable of big things, but we have to do it at our own pace. I have women, and I've got women coming on the podcast that want to create change. They're doing so much. They are helping people. They're the women I want in my space and on this podcast and in my room, because they're the women that are so aligned to me, and they've been through so much as well, trauma in their lives. And I think we've got to go through things in life to be able to make that impact. You don't have to have major traumas. You can have minor traumas, or just, for me, they're experiences of so much that read my book. If you've not bought my book, it's available on Kindle, so it's in my link tray. I'll put it in the show notes as well. I've had quite a few downloads this week. I've been really pushing my socials, and I've had people message me saying, oh, I've bought your book, but I've got Kindle Unlimited, and I still get money. Well, I still get paid per view, so don't feel guilty by downloading it for free, because I still get something for it. And and it's not about the money for me. I just want the book to help people. That's why I did it on Kindle, for you to be able to access it. So you don't have to have a book. Not everybody wants a pink book. Like, you might be male, you might be listening to this and think, actually, I might, fancy reading a book, because you will take something from the book. I love self-development. I just love helping other people. I have always been a caregiver, and it's always probably been in the physical form, but I've always been a good friend. I've always been a good listener. a good negotiator, a good mum and a good wife. I get told that all the time. I'm a good daughter. My mum tells me all the time how proud she is of me. And I believe her but then she's like, I said, but Mum, you've done this. You've made me me. She brought me up on her own and she made me into who I am. And I just said, look, everything that I do now is on the back strength of you. If I wouldn't have had that parent to push me and to show me the values and how to respect myself and how to just be a good mum, then I wouldn't be where I am. So, but you have to look after yourself. We can't please everybody. And we have to start thinking about us because we are just a person at the end of the day. Just get rid of everybody else in your head. Then just write down, just get why don't you get a little stick figure and just do whatever drawing you're good at doing, draw you, a pen and a paper, just do a little self-reflection activity together. Get your person, and this represents you, not the mum, the partner, the business owner, just you as a woman in your fullness. Now around that figure, I want you to start writing or drawing little bubbles of what you give to other people. So, it may be time, attention, love, energy, help, advice, emotional support, your whole diary. Now pause and ask, what am I actually giving to myself? And inside that stick figure, within your body, I want you to write what you need more of. Maybe it's peace, rest, fun, boundaries, joy, nourishment, validation, or space. This helps you visually see the imbalance because people pleasing pulls us outwards. This brings us back to you. So if your figure is full of things you give to others but empty on the inside, maybe today's the day you start to refill from within. Are you ready to do this? Because I think the only way you don't even have to write this. I know a lot of you women are out walking your dog now because you message me after you've listened to the podcast and you're out walking. I can hear the water and I can hear the dog in the background because we always have a laugh. I always voice note people back. Visualise that person in your head. Do some visualisation. Go and find a bench and think, right, what am I giving? Because you might be on a walk with that dog and you might be going back home and you might have a house full of people. And you think, what am I? So we always create lists in our head. Because when we go home, we think, right, I have to give my husband time. I have to give my son time. My son always wants my time. But then I have to give my partner time as well. I need time to send that email. I need time to do some work. I need time to do the housework. But what are we doing for us? So make sure we are making it equal. We might be doing a lot for other people, but make sure that's equal. Make sure that's not imbalanced. And maybe start pulling back on other people. Because when we start pulling back, other people retreat as well. And then people start seeing the new you and getting used to the new you. Because sometimes we need to do that. We need to be cruel to be kind. We can't make change and people can't see the way we are unless we start changing. It will be turbulent. It will be rocky. You might have conflict. But then you say to yourself, this is what I want. I want more for me. Why should we look after other people all the time? Why should we say yes? And why are people even coming to us saying, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Why? Just say, I haven't got the time. I'm at full bandwidth. That's why I say to people now, I'm at full bandwidth. I have no more time. People ask me all the time, could you do this in my group? Could you offer this? And I'm like, I'm really sorry, but at the minute, I'm at full bandwidth. But can I get back to you in a couple of months' time? And they do actually sometimes, revisit. But I don't want to be mean and just say no straight away because sometimes people catch me off guard when I'm feeling a kind of way. People don't know that I'm grieving. People don't know I'm feeling a certain way. People don't know I'm crazy in my salon busy or I'm doing podcast recordings or I'm interviewing people. People don't know and it's not their fault because we can be snappy, can't we? And that's what, when we start snapping at people and shouting, we have to make our children independent as well, even our partners sometimes. But once we start doing that, people start to see the value in us and that respect starts to grow. So let me know today if this has resonated with you. I wanted to touch on this topic because I've had some amazing guests on lately And it's all about us and the wellness and the neuroscience behind everything and how we can start making these small changes. And people pleasing is a big thing. We always want to seek validation. I like to be friends with everybody. There's not many people that I don't like and not many people that don't like me. There's a few people in my life. There's people like you might have ex-partners, girlfriends or things like that. You might have people that you're like, why do they not like me as a person? They don't really know me as a person. They only go off the back, not of that other person. It's like work, when you go to work somewhere and somebody might know you and you just don't know. Some people, I trigger people sometimes because I'm doing well. And you might trigger people. There's nothing wrong with that. We can get triggered by other people. But it's just acknowledging that's all. So have a think today, whenever you listen to this podcast, and let me know. And please share this episode. I've had some new listeners, so, if you know any other women and busy mums that are people pleasers, then I know my friend Lindsay, she'll be listening to this, and I say to her all the time, and like the last couple of years, I'm like a little pocket life coach, and I say to her, why have you done that? Why'd you do it? And she's like, well, I don't know. I just do it. And I'm like, but you've been doing this so long now, and I think you just get stuck in a rut because you don't want to create change. You don't want people to see you differently because you're so heavily invested in doing the things that other people want you to do. Then it's like doing things for school. You're a mum and people expect that of you. But I say to her, say no. Once you say no, she's like, are you proud of me? I've said no. I'm like, yep. So I've got to do the same as well. People stop, as I have. Actually, it does work when people start, when you start saying no, not in a horrible way, people actually will stop coming to you because they'll think, well, actually, Lindy's not that available at the minute. And you can just be honest saying, I've got a child with additional needs and I don't really have the time. And that's all it is sometimes. I'm like, you don't have to be like a cruel no. If it's your friends, I'm like, I can't really be bothered, to be fair. Like, on a night out, I'm like, you know what? Like, when we go out, when you arrange, have you ever arranged a night out and you kind of taught yourself out of it throughout the day? And you're back and forth through messages. And I'm like, can you be bothered going out today? And they're like, well, actually, I just want to get my pyjamas on and have a takeaway. I'm like, me too. So it's just simple things. Like, sometimes we can both please each other and we don't actually want to. But it's just making small changes, isn't it? And being an adult about it as well. I think when you get to my age, 43, and I keep saying that like it's old, but we have a little bit of lived experiences. And when you're new to relationships, we do people pleasing relationships. It's just easy to do that. But we don't want to be taken advantage of either. So let's close the podcast with 3 affirmations. I'm allowed to say no without guilt, and yes to what lights me up. My worth is not based on how much I do for others. I choose peace over people pleasing. I choose me. And I will leave it there. And I hope this is a valuable podcast for you today. And I will speak to you soon. And happy manifesting. See you later. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you feel inspired to take action and manifest the life you deserve. Don't forget to come and join me over on social media and Instagram at Busy Mums Fitness Corner for more tips, motivation and behind the scenes. And also be sure to check out my books on Amazon. They're designed to help you manifest your dreams and grow. And if you're ready to take the next step and work with me, you can head over to my Linktree for all the details. Let's make magic happen together. So until next time, keep manifesting and stay amazing.